Are you kidding? It's working? Holy cow, it's actually working. How you doing? It's been just a nightmare getting this show on the road today. It's taken way too long. A few weeks back, oh, my name's Lancer, by the way. Welcome to my shop. A few weeks back, I made a video about adapting these M18 batteries to the Dyson vacuum. And I have to say, it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. I can do my whole house, 2 floors, top to bottom, and barely kill 2 bars on the battery. Then when I'm done, hang it up on the hanger and charge the battery up for the next one. It really is the way they should have done it in the first place instead of this built-in, you know, proprietary sealed battery idea. So a friend of mine saw that video and he said, calls me up and he says, hey, that was a great idea. Can you hook me up? I said, sure. He goes, the only thing is I'm not a Milwaukee guy. I'm a Makita guy. I said, hey, we don't discriminate here at Lancer's shop. So he picked up the MK18 adapter. He brought the stuff over and that's what we're going to do today. This is where my intro would go if I had an intro. This is where it would go. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is get this battery off here. There's also 2 at the bottom, which I have already taken out. There's a screw right here. Take it out. And, oh, that's a Torx. I'll let you know what size of Torx in about a second here. Like an 8, perhaps. 8 it is. All right, what I'm going to do is take these little tabs off first. Get them off that board. All right, so I'm going to put this on the vise and I'm going to heat these little tabs right off there. Okay. Okay, so the next step is to mount the switch. Now, I should mention that you want to try to keep the switch as far forward as possible so that the battery adapter can come as forward as possible. Because I felt that with mine, I mounted the battery a little bit too far back. So this one I'm going to try to mount it as far forward as possible and see how that looks. So what I'm doing here is I'm test fitting the adapter. I'm trying to get it as far forward as I can before it interferes with the switch, so that I know exactly where those little power tongs are going to go. Okay, now I'll just mark it. Okay, because we're going to permanently attach those little power tongs to the adapter, we have to make sure they're perfectly in line with the terminals coming out of the handle. Keep in mind, when the thing is upside down, the positive is on the left. So all I do is I take those little things and I just push them in exactly where they have to go and mark them out. There we go. So once I get them all marked out, I just grab my soldering iron and I just make little holes. Just like the PC board that they came from, I just make little indents so they have something permanent to sit in so they don't move around. Some little tabs. And now that everything's soldered together, I'm just kind of test fitting everything. When I did the Milwaukee version of this, I kind of had an interference problem with those wires. So I'm just making sure everything fits the way it's supposed to. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue it in. You'll probably want to use a 2-part epoxy. I didn't have any, so I was just using PL. I'm also going to hot glue them in. And once everything's put together, those things aren't going to move. All right, something I didn't do in the last video, which I caught much too late, was that I did not show a close-up of this contraption here. So that's what I'll do now. Notice the angle? It conforms to the angle of the handle. I highly recommend drilling the holes in these little things. It just adds that extra level of safety from keeping those wires from popping off and arcing. Now, I never really know how much of this soldering you guys want to see. Personally, I find it a little bit boring, but on one of my bike videos, I was catching shit because I was just fast forwarding through all the soldering and people wanted to watch it. So let me know in the comments what you think about that. I found that these adapters are just a little bit smaller than the Dyson battery case itself. So I'm using these little plastic shims on either side just to keep the outside of the case from squishing in and looking ugly when you screw the thing together. Oops. Upside down. And again, I'm just using these, they're pretty much just black steel stud screws. And you can, I got these at the Restore. I got a big bag of them for like $2, but you could always just, if you can't find the black ones, or if you prefer the chrome ones, you can just get those from any hardware store will have them. All right. Seems pretty sturdy. Let's see if it works. There we go. Okay, and there we go. The moment of truth. Works amazing. All right, so there are 3 bars on this Makita battery. It's a 4 amp hour battery. I'll go and do some vacuuming, and we'll see how long it lasts.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
All right, so I went and vacuumed for 15 minutes, and then I got sick of vacuuming. But the good news is it only killed 1 bar on this battery, so that's a good thing. This really is an easy swap. Pretty much anybody could do it with a little bit of know-how. A soldering iron doesn't hurt, and you know, the switches are cheap. Get them on Amazon. You really don't need to make this complicated. I've seen videos where guys are insisting on having the trigger working, and they're, it's like, okay, you go ahead and make it as complicated as you want. That works for me. And you know, it really doesn't have to be complicated. So that's it. I want to thank you for sticking around, and consider a thumbs up, because the YouTube algorithm likes that. And if you like what I'm doing here, consider subscribing, because I'm always doing stuff like this, and the parts are trickling in for the next project. Actually, I only have 1 more thing coming, and that's coming next week. And that's going to be a good one. That'll be really interesting, actually, for me, because it's got some parts in it that I haven't worked with before. So, all right. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next one. Now, I could go vacuum and give you some time. Why does this have bird written on it? Oh, never mind.